So, ladies and gentlemen, this is an update through CBC and AP of a very fluid situation that's going on in Lebanon. Now, according to AP and CP, again through CBC News, hundreds have been wounded after another wave of device explosions in Lebanon. According to published reports, several people are dead and more than 300 wounded, country's health ministry says. Now, this has been going on over the last couple of days or 48 hours. According to AP, explosions went off in Beirut and multiple parts of Lebanon, and an apparent second wave of detonations of electronic devices. Hezbollah officials who are anti-Israel basically have fought literally to stop Israel from existing, and their state media said Wednesday, reporting walkie-talkies and even solar equipment detonating a day after hundreds of pagers blew up. Now, for the people that don't know what pagers are, literally they're beepers where basically you're alerted as to calling a certain number. At least 9 people were killed and 300 were wounded, the ministry said. Now, several blasts are always also heard at a funeral in Beirut for 3 Hezbollah members and a child killed by exploding pagers the day before, according to AP journalists at the scene. An AP photographer in the southern coastal city of Sidon saw a car and a mobile phone shop damaged after devices exploded inside of them. A Hezbollah official told AP that the walkie-talkies used by the group exploded. The official spoke on condition of anonymity because he was not authorized to speak to the media. Now, the new blast hit a country still thrown into confusion and anger after Tuesday's pager bombings, which appeared to be a complex Israeli attack targeting Hezbollah members that caused civilian casualties as well. Now, according to NPR and other international media outlets, the Hezbollah leadership was not using mobile or cell phones for communication or using mostly pagers. And some people believe that Israel hacked the system and set up the fact that their batteries, most of them lithium, could explode. Now, at least 12 people were killed, including 2 children, and some 2,800 people wounded as hundreds of pagers used by Hezbollah members began detonating wherever they happened to be, in homes, cars, all grocery stores, and in cafes. So as it stands with the total count right now, we're dealing with more than 3,000 wounded and about 20 to 25 dead. In the first wave of bombings, it appeared that small amounts of explosives had been hidden into thousands of pagers delivered to Hezbollah and remotely detonated. The reports of further electronic devices exploding suggested an even wider presence of booby traps in Lebanon's supply chain. It also deepens concerns over the attacks in which hundreds of blasts went off in public areas, often with no bystanders, with no certainty who was holding the rigged devices. The attack, which Israel has not publicly commented on, renewed fears that the simmering conflict between Israel and Hezbollah could escalate in an all-out war. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said Wednesday the U.S. is still assessing how the attack could affect efforts to negotiate a ceasefire in Israeli-Hamas war in Gaza. Of course, this occurred after Hamas attacked Israel last October. Now, Israel also began moving more troops to its border with Lebanon on Wednesday as a precautionary measure, according to an official with knowledge of the movements who spoke on condition of anonymity because he was not authorized to speak to the media. Hezbollah and Israeli forces have exchanged fire almost daily since October 8th, the day after a deadly Hamas-led assault in southern Israel triggered a war. Since then, hundreds have been killed in strikes in Lebanon and dozens in Israel, while tens of thousands on each side of the border have been displaced. Hamas and Hezbollah are allies and both are supported by Iran. And again, Hezbollah is residing in a predominantly Christian country of Lebanon. Israeli leaders have issued a series of warnings in recent weeks that they might increase operations against Hezbollah in Lebanon, saying they must put a stop to exchanges to allow people to return to their homes near the border. Now, the attack in Lebanon started Tuesday afternoon when pagers in their owners' hands or pockets started heated up and then exploded, leaving blood-splattered scenes and panicking bystanders. It appeared that most of those hit were members or linked to members of Hezbollah, whether fighters or civilians, but it was not immediately clear people with no ties to Hezbollah were also hit. The health ministry said healthcare workers and 2 children were among those killed. In the village of Nadi Sheet in the Bekaa Valley, dozens gathered to mourn the death of one of their children, Fatima Abdullah, 9. Her mother, wearing black and donning a yellow Hezbollah scarf, wept alongside other women and children as they gathered around the girl's coffin before her burial. Hezbollah said in a statement Wednesday morning that it would continue its normal strikes against Israel as part of what it describes as a support front for its ally, Hamas, and Palestinians in Gaza. This path is continuous and separate from the difficult reckoning that the criminal enemy must await for a massacre on Tuesday. There's another reckoning that will come, God willing. At hospitals in Beirut on Wednesday, the chaos the night before had largely subsided, but relatives of the wounded continued to wait. Now, Lebanon Health Minister Fias Abiad told journalists during a tour of the hospitals Wednesday morning that many of the wounded had severe injuries to the eyes and others had limbs amputated. Journalists were not allowed to enter hospital rooms or film patients. Now, at this presentation, there's no indication if there's going to be a medical need over the next few days to deal with the injured. Reports have been sketchy because, again, Western journalists or non-affiliated journalists have not been allowed to the scenes. But here's the fact, ladies and gentlemen. There's many ways that you can frig up electronic equipment from the source. You can make faulty batteries. You can put what you call accelerant devices. But the explosion, if you ever saw explosion of a phone, a walkie-talkie, a pager, you're dealing with shrapnel. You're dealing with all kind of stuff. So we're not really sure. According to an NPR report I was listening today, that I guess Hezbollah had given up primarily on their cell phones as way of communication, therefore the pagers. And pagers, of course, can give you text messages and stuff like that. There was no indication where the pagers were from, how they were booby-trapped, how maybe it set up that the lithium batteries would explode, because that would be your main accelerant, because that's a typical for any cell phone or pager. But there's no indication if this was a time thing, because I don't know the technology. Would it take 30 to 60 days for an explosive device on a timer to fully explode? According to sources in Lebanon, most of these what they call pager bombs or pager explosions happen at the same time. Like I said, I'm a Jewish person and I abhor violence on both sides. It seems like the ceasefire options are getting less and less possible. We're in the midst of a U.S. Election campaign. It's heated on both sides. But I've never heard of an attack like this, ladies and gentlemen. It seems very, not say James Bondish or something out of a Spielberg movie, Munich. But knowing that these pagers could blow up allowed the Israelis, because there's a lot of strong techies in Israel could be working for the government. They probably saw weakness in the system, and wherever they came from, be it Taiwan or China or whatever supplier, it was successful, because 3,000 injured plus and 20 to 25 people. We don't know how many amputations. It basically it was an attack that seemed to be deliberate and seemed to be could cause as much panic as possible. Who knows? There might be more bombings over the short while. So that's the latest update from CBC, AP, and Reuters. If you want to find out more about what's going on, please check your local media, either traditional or online, like newspapers or audio channels or radio. Like I said, next few days will tell if there's going to be more of these bombings, because it could be like anything else. When they invaded last October, I don't think Hamas really took Israel seriously. Israel is never lost a war when they're invaded, and it's going to start again right now. Will it lead to an all-out war? We don't know, because Iran could have done more weeks ago when the big leader had died. But I guess there was one of the ambassadors who were injured too that was representing Hezbollah, so we yet to be seen. So the full injury and death toll, again, well over 3,000 combined. And like I said, keep an eye on updates on your local media as to this story as it unfolds. Thanks for listening, and have yourself a great day.